Alright, this is going to be a short film. It's going to be unedited because it's 3:30 already, but I want to be able to leave you with something to review what we talk about today. Just briefly, and I don't have photos of this, but I did, based upon my own feeling and what you had said in the film, I did make some adjustment to the color of the countertop and the color of the cabinets. Really, what I was thinking on in terms of those cabinets anyway. Taking some of the red out of those cabinets to get it to go along better with the finish on the table and some of your older furniture down there. Additionally, my feeling is that probably, regardless of what we do on the railing, I really like the one from the log cabin ski lodge type thing, that black metal. I didn't have a chance to research that, but I think something like this can work very nice over here. I really like an all steel feel, but maybe steel and wood. In any case, I think that those stringers that go down there and the cap on this little half wall, I think those ought to be white. It just marries together better, and then anything else that we use with it will be just fine, I think. The main purpose of this meeting is to give you a review of what if we did rotate this ping pong table so that it could orient this way. How does that impact the entire plan? And I will try to make this, as I said, unedited review as best as I can. Okay, so this is where we ended up the last time with the ping pong table in this orientation here. And then this is when I rotate the table and give you, this is actually, yes. This is still not regulation clearance at these ends. Okay, to get regulation clearance, we probably would have to sacrifice the bar. But it's the same clearance, this square here that I'm talking about. It's the same clearance that you have currently here. Maybe less on the sides, but that's really immaterial. It's full recommended clearance on the side at this location here, which is 3 feet at the sides. This, this bigger square, this would represent the space you would need if you wanted to have a pool table set up in here. And if that would be the case, if that is something that you would be interested in, we would be talking about relocating this bathroom, down into this area here. And I'm not sure, maybe then things change and Timmy's little area becomes much more limited back here just for him and a couple people, or and the bar maybe drops down here, more pricey arrangement still, or the bar goes away, and really this table could come up in this region because the table is low, and so it's not going to mess up the pool table shots. But for this meeting and this series of photos, we're just going to talk about the ping pong table and whether the rotation makes sense and how it impacts the rest of the plan. Okay, so we're just going to concentrate on the ping pong table. And as you can see, this is the clearance here. We're able to move this wall and not get into this window at all. This becomes practically a code minimum clearance here, but we don't even have to move the commode at all, the toilet at all. We'll put a door through here and going forward. And here we are, we're showing the entire plan on a bigger view. And you can see how this impacts us. We would still maintain a pathway through to these rooms back here. I mean, there's this door, but it's eventually going to go away as I go forward here. So for now, I'm showing access to this area, this mechanical area through here. But you can see this is severely impacting us here. Obviously, this won't work. So that's what we begin to address as we step through these. The first thing I did was shift everything. What I do is have to move this wall 2 feet this way, so you lose space in this room here. But that's the only way, in my mind, that we can maintain this bar here. Sure, if we scrap the bar, or if we put the bar down here somehow, and the table up in here, then it's still doable that way. But as it is, I started from that idea that I would move this wall 2 feet to the right, and I moved the bar as well, all of that action to the right about that far. This still leaves us fairly tight in here, too tight actually. It's only about 23 inches or so. So I believe that's the next. Well, actually I horsed around with this furniture down in here. As you can see, I didn't really, that thing will be just completely in the way there, so I probably just revert to that arrangement. And actually what I did, yes, here, you see what happens here is I move this over here, and that allows all of this action here. And this, just ignore these furniture, particularly when we get to the, the actual photographic look. But you can see when I do that and I move that, it really allows this area to expand quite a bit. All right. And now this is when I begin to address this tightness through here, because people are going to want to get up and go back in here. Also, I've eliminated that door, as you can see, because I knew it was going to go away in order to have the space here. So the first thing I did was I took that door away and moved that forward. It cuts down the space here, but I don't know how much room you need. That's 30 inches back there now. We're still tight here. So shrink the bar up and do this sort of situation here. And you'll be able to pause this film and reverse it, or go through the series of photographs the same way, in order them by number, file name, not by date. So next then, so that gets us to this 30-inch clearance through here, the ping pong table. I don't think, because this sits so low, I don't think that's going to be an issue with, I don't know how low the ping pong players go, whether they're all the way down at 18 inches from the floor catching shots or not. To me, or someone else would know more about that. Let's see. And so this is what, the final. We went from this to that. And there's quite a bit of difference in how everything works together. Frankly, I like it. Personally, I like it more than, I like this more than where we were before. Mainly because of the expansion possible here. I just feel like everything is more organic, for lack of a better word. And going forward then, so we went from this to that. Oops. From that to this. Let's see. I guess I just have an extra one in there. From that to this. What is the difference? I really don't know right now. I'm running out of time. One of the issues then is the television too small for this area. If you look at it, it's off center from this area now with the remodified bar top, etc. Yes, this is tight, but you'll have that. Maybe this bothers people that this is off center. With it being off center, with it being off center anyway, you can still see it from that farthest right bar seat. And then if I go forward and begin to modify that and make it centered on this area here, and I'm probably widening it out some too. Yes, I widen it out some too. This is like a 39 or 40 inch, probably a 39-inch screen. I've eliminated the flanking cabinet altogether and made this refrigerator a little wider, a 36-inch wide refrigerator. I kind of left this sink as close as I could to where it was so that we weren't into an expense with that. But that's, that's what I did next. But the issue with that, when you make it wider and eliminate this cabinet and pull it that way to the right, this last bar seat, its view is compromised. So that's something to consider, even with a smaller TV. Larger TV, smaller TV, if it's centered on that in the refrigerator's full width 36, it's going to compromise you from this seat here. From the next seat over, it's fine, as you can see, and that's the larger television. And probably what we would do if we did this sort of situation is not have that refrigerator just bare-ended like that and that cabinet buried back in there, but rather put a panel in here and then bring that cabinet forward so it can actually be used and doesn't look so silly back there. But again, and then, from this view, from way over here, that looks fine. But from that farthest seat, it's still going to be compromised. I don't know if I have a shot of that. Apparently, I do not. Finally, well, regardless, it's going to look like that. And with the panel up, it was already obstructed anyway, so with the panel up, it's still obstructed. Flipping forward, and this is really the final thing I want to say. This is where we are with the panel, the cabinet, the wider television, centered on this bar, everything as we were showing. I'm still showing access to the basement area back here through these two doors. Alternately, we can eliminate that door and move it over to here. And so this is your final result and the final part of this film, or really almost the entire film. This was, that is the, that's regulation ping pong table size, just in case you were interested, where they have 5 feet at each end. That's almost tournament action. Yeah, it could be done, but really all of this would go away. This window becomes captured in that space there. The bathroom would be back in here. Probably would be able to just rotate that toilet around, so we wouldn't be into a big plumbing expense, really a big expense in general, but we would be losing all of this here. This would just become, whether this becomes just a bar and we somehow, have all your liquor or whatever under here, and maybe because this becomes a wall right across here. I'm not sure. We can talk about that in person though.